Hi there, my name is Ryan Rampasan, and I'm excited to kick things off as the first presenter for our group. We're about to take you on a fun and interactive journey into the world of mathematics. Yes, mathematics can be fun. We will be demonstrating a list of teaching aids that you can use in class as a hands-on activity, like the circular geoboard, which I'm presenting on, that you can use to make abstract concepts come to life. It's all about making maths visual, tangible, and most importantly, meaningful. So get ready to stretch some rubber bands and stretch your thinking too. We're bringing the learning full circle. Using a circle geoboard to teach fractions in grade 3 helps students visually understand how a whole can be divided into equal parts. By stretching rubber bands around the evenly spaced pegs, they can create and compare half, quarters, thirds, sixths, and other fractions, reinforcing the idea that equal parts must be the same size. Here we have the geoboard. We divide it into halves. We have the halves, then we divide it into quarters, and then even eighths. And having the possibility of so much more. Using a circular geoboard to teach plane shapes in grade 4 provides a fun, hands-on approach to exploring geometry. Students can form and identify various 2D shapes like triangles, squares, and polygons by stretching rubber bands around the pegs. We can form a triangle, we can form a rectangle, and we can even form a full circle. In grade 5, using a circular geoboard to teach type of triangle builds on prior learning and encourages students to classify triangles more thoughtfully based on their properties. By connecting 3 pegs with rubber bands, they can create different triangles. Here we can create an equilateral triangle showing all sides are equal. We can create a rectangle triangle, and you can even create an obtuse triangle. Using a geoboard to teach angles in grade 6 allows students to create and measure angles by connecting pegs with rubber bands. This hands-on activity helps them visualize different types of angles, acute, right, and obtuse, and to understand how angles are formed and compare based on their size. Here we'll create a full angle. We have a full angle. Then we'll have a straight angle. And also we can have a 90-degree angle. And that wraps up my part. I'll now hand you over to my colleague, who's going to dive into some more hands-on fun and take us even deeper into the world of maths using a rectangular geoboard. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Pulbutina Ryan and I will be looking at the rectangular geoboard and how it can be used to teach different concepts at 4 different grade levels. The grade level that I will be looking at are grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and grade 4. But what is a rectangular geoboard? A rectangular geoboard is a maths manipulative used to explore geometry concepts. At grade 1, we can use the rectangular geoboard to teach basic shape recognition. This is whereby we allow the students to use rubber band to make basic 2D shape like the square, triangle, rectangle. And then we can have them naming each shape. At the grade 2 level, we can use the geoboard to teach line symmetry. And an activity that we can use is mirror it. This is whereby the teacher make a shape on half of the geoboard and the student will replicate the mirror image on the other half, and they're going to use a rubber band or string to show the line of symmetry. Like, for example, I have here a triangle and I use a rubber band to show that a triangle has one line of symmetry. We can also make other shapes on the geoboard, and then we can have the children discussing which shape had more lines of symmetry. At the grade 3 level, we can use the geoboard to teach area and perimeter. One activity that can be used is Shape Designer Challenge. This is whereby students create different rectangles or square and calculate their perimeter and area by counting the units. Then they can compare the shape with the same perimeter but different area and vice versa, and record whatever was done on a table. At the grade 4 level, a topic that can be taught using the rectangular geoboard is understanding angles. Activity can be angle hunters. Students use rubber band to create different polygons like rhombus or a parallelogram. Then they can identify and classify angles like right, acute, or obtuse within the shape. Then they can discuss which shape have more than one type of angle. And that is how we can use the rectangular geoboard to teach 4 different concepts at 4 different grade levels. Thank you. I will now hand you over to my other colleague.
Hi everyone, I am Nandrani Riklal and I will be looking at the Chinese tangram and how it can be used to teach mathematics at grade 1 to 4. What is a Chinese tangram? The tangram is a versatile and engaging manipulative aid that is used for teaching various concepts across different grade levels. The tangram consists of 7 polygons, which are the 2 large triangles, 1 medium triangle, 2 small triangles, 1 square, and 1 parallelogram. So here is a model of the tangram. We have the 2 large triangles, the medium triangle, the small, we have 2 small triangles, a square, and a parallelogram. For grade 1, it can be used to teach basic shapes. Recognizing and naming shapes, for example, the triangle, the square, and the parallelogram. Students will build simple figure. Example, they can build a house using shapes. They can identify and count how many of each shape they use to build the figure. For grade 2, it can be used to teach lines of symmetry. So the children, they can explore symmetry by folding the pieces, or they can draw in lines on the different shapes to find the lines of symmetry. For grade 3, it can be used to teach area and perimeter. Measuring and comparing area and perimeter using the tangrams. They can also find the areas of the different shapes. We can also introduce perimeter by laying strings around the edges of the tangram figures. For grade 4, it can be used to teach angles. They can identify angles, whether it's right angles and triangles and square, and they can estimate acute or obtuse angles in parallelogram. Sort triangles, which are right angle or which are isosceles triangles.
Hi everyone, I'm Sharmala Singh and I will be looking at the fractional wheel. Now what is the fractional wheel? The fractional wheel is also known as a fraction circle or a fraction pie, and it's a great hands-on tool that is used to teach a variety of maths concepts. Now here's the fractional wheel, an example of a fractional wheel, and we have fractions up to 8 here, right? So with this, we can do introductions to fractions for grades 1, and they're going to understand the whole. So it's actually a watermelon, and they would understand the different parts of the fractions. So we have the whole, and what you can do is put it through here, and as you can see, we form the fractions, right? So we have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8, right? So what the pupils will be doing to identify unit fractions is just turn the watermelon. Another concept that can be taught using the fractional wheel is also comparing fractions. Now, using the fractional wheel, pupils can compare fractions. So, for example, if we have 2/8 on the chalkboard and also 5/8, we can compare those fractions. All we do is use the wheel to see which one is bigger and which one is smaller. Another concept that can be taught is equivalent fractions. So basically they would be matching pieces that take up the same space on the wheel. So we'll have more than one fractional wheels to the different groups, and we can have them match and see which fraction takes up the same space on the wheels. Another concept that we can teach using the fractional wheel is adding and subtracting of fractions with like denominators. So placing the fractional parts together, we can make a whole. What we can do is use this to add and subtract our fractions. So this is a visual aid to help learners. So if they don't know how to add or subtract the fraction, they can easily just turn the watermelon slides to see what they'll be able to get. So with this fractional wheel, it will be applicable to grades 1 through 4. So it's a hands-on learning activity that can be done, and for learners to be able to have a visual understanding of fractions.
Greetings everyone, my name is Marsha Verween, and my task today is to talk about the volumetric measuring instrument. So now many may ask, what is a volumetric measuring instrument? A volumetric measuring instruments are tools designed to measure the volume of liquids or other substances with precision. They are commonly used in laboratories, classrooms, and practical activities to teach measuring concepts. Some of the measuring instruments are measuring cup and measuring cylinder. So here we have some measuring instruments that can be used in the classroom and both in the laboratory. But if we do not have such, we can be creative and make our own. DIY of the measuring instruments, and basically what we used was some sanitary cups, markers, paper, pencil, and water. We use the volumetric measuring instruments in grades 1 to 4. First, in grade 1, we can compare full, half, empty while learning the basics of fractions and quantities. For the empty, full, and half, you can ask the students to identify the containers that are empty, full, half, and ask them the difference. Grade 2. Used to introduce concepts of standard units and measurements like millimeters and liters. Grade 3, we can use to compare volume. Each cup must be filled with same amount of water, but they must be differently in size, and each cup must be having approximately 100 millimeters of water inside. And for grade 4, we can use for problem solving by determining the volume required for different containers. As we know, 1000 millimeters is equal to 1 liter and 500 milliliters is equal to half liter. For example, how many 500 milliliters would we need to fill a container that is 1 liter? So obviously it would be 2 cups of 500 millimeters of water we would need to fill the 1 liter of water. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Ms. Narnia Umesh, and my task this afternoon is to enlighten you about the attribute logic set. This set consists of shapes that are of different size, color, and thickness. I will be enlightening you on how we will integrate these into the different grades, that is grade 1, 2, 3, and 4. So for grade 1, we could have the children sort in the shapes. For example, we have shapes that are of different colors. So they will sort these shapes that are of different color. That way they will identify what shape has what color. For grade 2, we could have them playing a game what does not belong. Since each shape carries its own color, its own size, and its own thickness, we could have them sorting according to, we could have them identify which one does not belong. For example, we have 3 rectangle, 1 circle. They could identify which one of this does not belong to the set. For grade 3, we could have them sorting the shapes according to its thickness or its size, because some of the shapes are thick and some are thin. So we could have them identify whether it's thick or whether it's thin, or we could let them identify whether it's big or it is small. For grade 4, we could have a spin the wheel game where we have the 5 different shapes on the wheel. We could have the different size also, the big and the small. So when they spin the wheel, they could identify which shape the arrow falls onto and its thickness that the arrow falls onto. This is a great way to integrate this concept into the classroom and also teach the children the different shapes and different colors.
Greetings everyone, my name is Shania Marks and today I will be presenting on the trundle wheel. The trundle wheel is a tool that is used for measuring distances. You hold the arm like this and then you roll it, and each rotation will give you the measurement. For the grades 1, we can use this for them to identify numbers from 1 to 10. They can also use this to do numbers and their amount. They place whatever amount they think is this. If this is 9, they put 9 things there to show. For the grade 2, we can use it for measuring using standard units. Each part will be 1 cm or 1 m if you would like to use any of those. And then when we finish measuring the objects, maybe in your classroom like chalkboard or desk or bench, and we can also find the difference between the objects and places around the classroom. For the grade 3, they can use this to do operations. They find the distance of the objects in their class, then they can subtract or find the total. They can also use this to do word problems when using multiplication and division. For the grade 4, they can use this to calculate area and perimeter for large spaces like the playground, or maybe a pitch, or maybe a corridor. Whatever rotation, the amount of rotation they find, that is what they will use to calculate the area. They can also find the perimeter by adding up all the sides together. That's it for me. Thank you.
Hi, I am Nishal Trim, and today I will be showing you how a mathematical balance can be used to teach different concepts at grades 1 to 4. So here we have a mathematical balance. And for grade 1, I will use this balance to teach heavy and light. Now, I will place one object, right, one block. This is the block that I'll be using. I'll be placing it on the left side of the balance, and I'll be using a different block on the right side of the balance. Then I'll ask the student which side is heavier, and as you can see here clearly, right, we can see that this side here, the right side, is the heavier side. So this will help them compare objects and understand the concept of weight. Good, so moving on to grade 2, I will start with basic addition and the idea of equal. Now I will place 3 cubes on one side of the balance. So here I'm going to place my 3 cubes. And on the other side I'll be placing 2 cubes. Then I will ask students, how many more cubes do you think we will need to make both sides equal? Right? And then they will guess 1, 2. So let's say they say 1, so we put the one more cube in here. Right? So we add another cube, and as you can see here, it is now balanced. because now this will also help them to understand that 3 plus 2 equals 5, and that both sides of an equation must balance. So here you can see clearly on the being balanced that 3, and we have 3 over here, and it is showing that it is balanced. Okay, so moving on to grade 3, doing skip counting by 2. So on each side of the mathematical being balance, I'm going to be adding 2 clerks each. So there you go. So 2, and we have 2 over here, so let's count 2 and 2 give us 4. So 2, 4, right? So as you can see here, it is balanced. So when the balance is level, we know that skip counting by 2 gives us 4. So for subtraction, I'm going to be placing 2 cubes on the right side and 2 on the left side, right? Now the balance is level, right? That means that both sides are equal. So as you can see here, the balance is level because both sides are equal. Now watch this. I'll take away 1 from the right side. What happens? The balance tips to the left. Now that means the 2 sides are not equal anymore. So I will ask the student, how many cubes do I need to take away from the left side to make it balanced again? Now they will say 1, so let's take a 1. Right? So as you see, take other 1 here. Right? It is now balanced. Now this is subtraction in action. We're not just writing numbers, we're seeing what happens when we take something away. So I'm now going to hand it over to my next colleague.
Hi there, I am Tashana Shrimp, and I will be presenting on our innovative teaching aid. It's a very simple teaching aid called the multiplication tables counters. It's very simple, of course, made out of cardboard and paper, but it's a very powerful tool that can be used to enhance teaching and learning from grades 1 through grade 6, especially in teaching tables. However, I will be presenting how this innovative teaching aid can be used to teach 4 different concepts from grade 1 to 4. Made out of simple cardboard boxes and paper, our multiplication counters, they are designed on both sides. It can be used to teach addition at grade 1. That's 7 plus 5. 7 plus 5 equals 12. Also, 2 plus 3 equal to 5. Our multiplication tables counters can be used to teach multiplication tables at grade 2 in a more concrete and engaging manner, which will make more sense to the pupils. 2 ones, 2. 2 twos, 4. Instead of just reciting the tables, you can actually see that 2 ones, 2 equals 2 twos equals 4. 2 threes equals to 6, and 2 fours equal 8, and it goes on and on. Also, our multiplication tables counters can be used to teach division at grade 3. Now I have here 4 counters, which is equal to 12. The child can clearly see that 12 divided into groups of 3 is equal to 4. Also, I have here 6 counters here, which is equal to 18. And the child can see here, or the children can see clearly, that 18 divided into groups of 3 is equal to 6. So 18 divided by 3 is equal to 6. Very simple and fun. Our multiplication counters can also be used to teach skip counting at grade 4. 5, 10, 50, 20, and it goes on and on.